Minister, everyone in this House can acknowledge the issue of global climate change, and we can all agree that it is a seismic challenge to the world order and to future generations yet to come. But while that must be acknowledged, what also must be recognised is the equitable distribution of responsibility across all countries of the world, and in our case across our EU community. The latest census detail for Ireland shows 5.1 million people. At this number, we are not even a big city in Europe. Per capita carbon measurements for Ireland are suggested to be higher than European neighbours. Some of this, of course, is attributable to our agricultural sector. But what is also interesting in the first instance is the science of carbon calculation, or dare I say the lack of it, in relation to properly identifying carbon sequestration in our agricultural sector. The sequestration that occurs in hedgerows, afforestation, pasture land, along with the beneficial activities of tillage and livestock holding that do much to contribute to the indigenous life cycle of the biosphere. The present trajectory of discussion around re-wetting, repurposing and restoration is being conducted in Europe largely in a vacuum as far as I can see, with respect to any impact assessment to the overall impact of one of the highest efficiency agricultural models within the EU community. European bureaucrats are looking at Ireland's component of high peat soil content hovering close to 18%, while much of the European mainland contains just 3%. Peat-based soils are being targeted for re-wetting and repurposing and restoration. But who is going to pay the fair share here? Are we in Ireland now to do to our agricultural sector what we have done to our fishing sector in the name of European integration? Shall we give away the farm in relation to these restorations? If we talk about climate change policy, Minister, we might talk about the present government climate policy. Government has appropriated at this point 384,000 hectares to climate change policy. That is 384,000 hectares that are not available to farm families in the future to supplement their farm activities or their biodiversity or their re-wetting, etc. Land costs in the country at the moment are hovering around €12,000 per acre. Land rental per acre is hovering now at €500 per acre. All of these costs are driving smaller farm families and rural farms out of the sector already. As I say, agricultural land is at a premium, but these effects of this policy are going to drive it higher. The policy that government is potentially acquiescing to now in driving up land farm costs is that you're also going to drive people out of the rural and regional community. What does government think of the rural community and our regional population in terms of the economic hit to rural and regional Ireland, Minister? I fail to understand that in terms of these debates. A big question at present throughout the country is what lands are going to be repurposed over what time period, in addition to lands that are going to be taken for afforestation, for anaerobic digestion and for every other issue that may help the European community meet its climate change targets. My own uncle of my own name was involved in draining what is called the Bricky River, a tributary of the Blackwater Valley in County Waterford back in the 60s and 70s. And much land was reclaimed there that is now part of farm holdings in the West Waterford area. Are those families now supposedly to be told that you must give that land back now for biosphere and for biodiversity, when they are already doing so much to do that in that area? The impacts have not been qualified, Minister, and I would urge you first and foremost to seek a proper impact assessment by independent experts to look at what this policy means in terms of Ireland into the future. And I would also highlight to you, Minister, and to your Green Minister sitting beside you, while we discuss repurposing of land and re-wetting, etc., we have a climate change agenda at the moment that is stuck in the mud. We are 3 years in this style and longer, and we have yet to form MARA. We are talking about bringing coastal offshore wind in to help with our energy situation, and we are probably at this stage anywhere from 8 to 10 years in getting that done. We have done nothing to promote hydrogen policy. We haven't even produced yet our hydrogen policy statement 3 years into the climate change agenda. And beyond that, Minister, we are failing to achieve what we need to achieve for the future of this country. That is a recognition of the very special, efficient place that Irish agriculture holds within the EU economic delivery. At this moment, we have the potential, and we have mulch coming up from South America at the moment to be used for biomass, for generating electricity in this country. We have the potential for Mercosur beef to cut down the Amazonian forest, to bring it up here into the European community, and at the same time we are also talking about limiting the potential and hurting the economy of our regional and rural country, and I think we need to look at this in a very, very significant way.
Thank you, Deputy Shanahan. Now